Hello, I am Ignace Aleya from ToleratedCinematics.com, and today I want to show you how to create this. Okay, pretty nice, right? And if you have seen the series D100, then you'll know where I get my inspiration off. But I found the introduction so amazing that I wanted to try it myself, and this was my try on it. But before we start, I wanted to thank my sponsor, VideoBlocks.com. VideoBlocks is an affordable subscription-based stock footage website where I found the stock footage for this video, and right now they're giving away a 7-day free trial where you can download up to 140 clips, so I would definitely recommend signing up for that website. They also have After Effects templates and motion backgrounds, so check it out, and also download the stock footage in the description so you can follow along with this tutorial. Okay, so back to After Effects. Here we have our project file, and we are going to get started from the scratch. So I'm going to delete everything at first, except my stock footage right here. So I'm not going to delete the stock footage right here. Also, VideoBlocks has another website, AudioBlocks, where you can find audio, of course, so soundtracks, sound effects, all that kind of stuff. And this is actually where I found this audio track from, so the soundtrack actually for this video, and that's also what we're going to use in this video. So let's get started. We have here the clip. We're going to drag this into a new composition. And oh, okay, this is actually a different clip. Let me undo that really quickly and go to file, and I'm going to import this green clip. Okay, right here. And now we have the correct footage, and let's drag this into our new comp, and this is the footage that we're going to use. So yeah, you can see this footage is pretty long, so I'm going to shorten it until 7 seconds or so, and then we're going to press N on the keyboard. And then we're going to right click, trim comp to work area. So now we have 7 seconds to work with this tutorial. So go to composition and composition settings to just check if everything is all right. We have 1920 by 1080p, which is great. Square pixels. Let's change the frame rate to 24 frames per second. And okay, we are done. So this is the footage that we just downloaded from VideoBlocks. If you didn't sign up for the trial, just do that and download the clip so you can follow along. I'm also going to rename this composition to the main comp so we can get everything organized. And there we go. And click OK. And then what we want to do is track this. So now we want to have all the positions on this shot. We want to have all the tracking points right on here so we can add all those lines and all those nice icons that we saw in the example. So to do that, we'll have to go to Window and then Tracker right here. And then we click on Track Camera. Okay, so now it's analyzing in the background. You don't have to do anything. It will do that for you. So right now we can get started on creating the icons that we are going to use in this video. So go to Composition, make another new composition, and let's make this icon 1. And there we go. And the height, let's say 500 by 500. Let's click OK. And now we have a composition like this. We don't need any backgrounds, so we'll just get right away to the to this tool. Just click and hold and choose the Polygon Tool, and then while you hold Shift on your keyboard, you drag out something like this. And I'm actually making an ellipse, so I'm not sure why, because I clicked on the Polygon Tool. So make sure you have Polygon Tool selected, hold Shift and drag out. And if you hold the space bar, you can reposition your icon. So like this, you can reposition. And then my computer is lagging a little, so we are going to redo that. Okay, there we go. And now if you have the arrow keys on your keyboard, up and down, and if you press down once, it will just be a triangle. So that's what we need actually. So we need a triangle that is upside down. So at first we have to make it like this, make it big enough like that, and release, and then click on the fill color here and make it some cool red color and click OK. Now click on the layer itself, press R on the keyboard, and then right here just enter 180, click away, and now you'll see that this is rotated So now we can click on the selection tool, reposition it just a bit, or we can go to Align by going to Window Align if you don't see this. Go to Align tab and just center this out, so just like this. And now we have our first icon for this project. Another thing I want to do is, well, we'll do that right after we created the icons. So duplicate this composition by going to Edit, Duplicate right here, and then double click on it, and we can delete this icon right here. Now we want to create another triangle, so we're just going to pick the Polygon tool as well, and then we're going to create one like this, center it out like so, maybe make it a little bit smaller, just like this, and make it white. And to see the white, we're going to make the background toggle transparency grid right here, so now we can see what we're working with. Or you could have changed the composition background color, and doesn't really matter. Okay, so now we have our triangle here. Reposition by pressing V on the keyboard. V will enable the selection tool. So right here we have a triangle. Click on the shape layer and duplicate. And now what you want to do is go to Fill, click on the text fill and disable it, and click OK. And now we want to go to Stroke, White, OK, and click on the layer again. Press S on the keyboard, which will reveal scale, and then just scale it up just a little and reposition, just so you have something like this. Okay, so it doesn't really matter too much for now. It's going to be in the distance, so it doesn't have to be exact. Just make sure you have something similar looking to this. Then what we want to do is make another icon, and this is going to be like a like an aiming dot. So we're going to delete this. Okay, let's see on the project file and the original file. Let me get this right now. So here is an example tutorial. Okay, and let's see what we want to create next. So this is also an icon we want to create. So go back to After Effects, and how I did this was also with the Polygon tool. Create something like this, and what I did here was to make it square, so the up arrow, and then hold shift and you will have a diagonal like this, and just make it like that. Also with the strokes enabled, to release, make sure you have a stroke 20 pixels or so. And now what we want to do is actually take this pen tool, click away from this shape layer so it's not selected anymore, and then click over here, hold shift and click over here, and that will make a straight line. And now you have a straight line over there that we want to create it like 40 pixels or so. Also click away and click on the shape layer, because we want to continue working in the shape layer. So you must make sure that you have shape layer still selected, and then if you re-click, so we have deselected and re-clicked, so we're not working on this one anymore. So you click over here right now and hold shift and click over here, and that will make another strike or streak, and that will make it in that same shape layer. So if you toggle that down, content, you will see you have two shapes, but that's actually what we want, so that's great. And now what we want to do is click on this shape layer, toggle the switches if you don't see this option, so click over here to switch between these modes, and then what we want to do is have an alpha math, I suppose, no, alpha inverted math. Okay. And you can see now we have something similar to our example. What you can do is maybe click on this layer and make it a little bit thicker like this. And we're done with this shape. We also want to add just one streak in the center here. So click over here and click over here. And now we have something similar looking to the example right here. We just want to change the colors. So we are going to click over here, make it some kind of red. Click over here, also change this red. On the pipette tool, you can select the same red, click OK, and now we have that icon. So now we have this icon, and we have this icon. The only icons we have to make are these icons and this icon here, right here. Okay, so we see these icons are animated, so it will be a little bit trickier, but it's fairly easy. Let's start with this one because it's the easiest one to create, so let's create it. Go back into After Effects, duplicate this icon again, edit, duplicate, or Command D, double click it to open the composition. Let's delete everything again, and then we're going to create with the pen tool again these two streaks. So one with shift hold, you will create a straight line, and this can be white again. Click OK. And disable the layer, click on it again, so we have deselected the path, and now click over here and click over here, and that's what we need. So that's everything we should have done. But before we do that, actually do Command Z for once, but before we do that, we'll have to center it out, so make sure it's in the center. I'm just going to redo that. Right over here you see this choose grid and guide options. Click the title save action, and click on the pen tool again, click over here. So now we have the exact center. Just so we have some reference, we can see it's not the exact center, so click on the right, deselect again, press the V on the keyboard so you have your selection tool, click on the shape layer, and just once on the right arrow key, so it's moving 1 pixel. You can see this right over here. So now we have a straight line, and what we want to do is create another one. Click on the pen tool again, and click over here, and click over here. So now we have a nice square, nice cross over here. So now we want to animate it from going inwards, from having nothing to showing something. So we're going to do that by holding the left mouse button here, click on rectangle tool, and create a rectangle all over this. Okay, like so. Great. And we'll disable the stroke and enable the fill. Okay. So now what we want to do is go over here, alpha math, alpha inverted math again, and we can see if we scale this down, it's going to show up. So we'll make it a little bit bigger than the original cross. Click on the scale here to make a stop. Click on the stopwatch to make a keyframe move forward like just 1 second. So over here. And then we want to make it a little smaller, so not completely small, because right here we are going to add a cross, so just like this. And now we have an animation going like this, but you want to ease out the movement. So now it's starting and stopping way too quickly, and not really the nice smooth style. So we want to select both keyframes, right click, keyframe assistance, and easy ease. And what that will do is it's going to smooth out the motion of the stop and start. So it's going to start slowly, speed up, and stop slowly again. So that's something nice, like so. So now we have this, right click, new solid, and make this like 20. Oh, I didn't do 20. Redo new solid and 20. Okay. Click OK, and now we have our cross. So this will be representing our cross. Maybe it's a little bit too small, so press S on the keyboard and make it just a little bit bigger, like this. And now what we want to do is go to the T on the keyboard, T for opacity, and click on the stopwatch, make this 0%, move 1 frame, make this 100%, move 1 frame, make it 0, and then copy all the frames, copy by going to edit, copy, and then edit, paste, and paste again. And now we have, delete the last keyframe, which is 0, so the last one is 100%, and it will stay in frame. So now we have something like this. So let's just do this quickly, like this. Okay, so this is our cross. And now we have one icon, a few icons left to do. So double click on the, duplicate the composition again. Well, now we have icon 5, delete everything again. So this should be one of the last. So it's a little bit tricky at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's fairly easy. So now what you want to do is create a square. Create a square through the Polygon tool, so we have a diagonal square, and zoom in just a little and click on the cross right here, hold Shift and Alt while dragging out, and now you have a perfect square from the center. So something like this, and release. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit larger so we have more to work with here, and zoom in just a little bit more. There we go. What you can do as well, over here you can fit up to 100%, or you can just do fit, and it will fit on the composition. Great. Okay, so what we want to do now is make it just a little bit larger with the scale, and also disable the fill and enable the stroke. Okay, make it 20. Okay, well, maybe you can make it 30, it doesn't really matter. And what you want to do now is pick the pen tool and deselect the layer, so it's going to create a new layer, and from this corner we're going to the center to this corner, and then we're going to click around this. Okay, like this. And we want to also disable stroke and enable the fill. Okay, and right here go to alpha inverted math. Okay, great. So now we have like an arrow which is going to move outwards. So we're going to select both of them, so we can move this to the center, like here, right here, or yeah, it's up to you, but I think right here will be fine. Okay, and now what we can do is create another composition. So duplicate it again, and then double click here, and now we can delete these here, but import this composition with the arrow right here. So now we have an arrow like this. What we could also do is pre-comp the other two arrows, but yeah, we did it this way now, so no harm done. And what I want to do is double click on it and click on the arrow here, so this one with the stroke enabled. And what we want to do now is also animate the stroke from being nothing to be this thick. So we are going to animate it from small to big, and the stroke also from thin to thick. So we are going to do the stroke first. Go to this arrow here. Go to content, Polystar, and you see stroke right here. And right here you see the width. So we'll click at 1 second, make a stopwatch, go back to 0% and make this 0%. So now you can see it becomes thick. And also select these two keyframes, right click and easy ease. Great. And now one more thing is to scale it up. So click on the layer, S on the keyboard, scale it, make that stop keyframe be at 1 second, and at 0 seconds we do it like 0, and now we have this movement. Well, one thing we have to do is move the anchor point by going to the pan behind tool and move this to here. So it's going to scale from here. So now we can see that it's scaling like this, a little bit better. Okay, go back to the icon comp 6, and now we want to do this like a nice animation. So it's starting from the center. We want to make it a little bit smaller, so scale it like this, and now we have this animation. Press P on the keyboard and click on the stopwatch right here. Move 1 second and move it over here. And actually what we are going to do is well, yeah, we're going to leave it like this, small, thick, and also we're going to make it thin again. So I'm actually going to make it even smaller. Press U on the keyboard to reveal all the effects for that layer. And I'm going to move it to 2 seconds, so it's taking 2 seconds to from the start right over here, but right over here it's also going to be thin again and disappear. So we're going back to the icon icon 5, and right here we're going to the shape layer, going to content, Polystar, stroke. And I know, guys, that it might be a little bit difficult to follow along if you're not really familiar with Adobe After Effects, but please, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll see what I can do, because I know it's quite hard to follow along if it's your first time or so. But my tutorials are meant to people that already experimented with After Effects and know their way around just a little, and then follow these tutorials. So yeah. Now we have this animation, pretty cool, right? Okay, so now what we want to do is we're going to pre-comp, or well, yeah, we can pre-comp this. So move all attributes to the new comp icon 5. So let's comp 1. Doesn't matter too much. Click OK, and now we want to duplicate this and rotate it 90 degrees. 90. Duplicate it again. R on the keyboard and 180. And duplicate it again. R 270. And there we go. So now we have our arrows going out like this. So let's get the composition settings to black so you can see it a little bit better, like this. So now we have this animation. Pretty cool. Now what we want to do is click on one of the layers, Command A to select all of them, and press these arrows to toggle everything down. And now we want to duplicate them, put them on top and offset them just a little, duplicate them again, put them on top and offset them again a little. Okay, so make sure it's fairly the same. And now we can see, well, there is not enough offset, so we're going to redo that just a little, like so. Okay, that was the autosave. And be sure, guys, to save your project, because I had it several times that everything was lost, and that's really not something that you want to happen. So, okay, so now we have this animation, so pretty cool. And what you can do to final, well, let's see what we need more. So, actually, we have everything. This is also actually this one, but in red. Well, it's a little different, but yeah, you know how to make things like that. So, okay, we need one more thing before we can get started, and that's the audio waveform here. And that's very, very simple to create. Go back to After Effects, create a new composition, make this 9020 by 800 or so. Now we have a wide composition. Create a new solid on here, make it comp size, and click OK. Now we want to add the audio track also in here. Press L on the keyboard, so double tap L on the keyboard. And now we can see the waveforms for that track. And we see right here, it's really starting. This is introduction, nothing too much happening in the song. And we want to have a lot of variation in the audio, so we have all the waveforms being animated pretty cool. So we're going to move it like this, and now we have immediately sound, and we can toggle off the sound here. Okay, go back to the solid, go to effects, and go to generate audio waveform. Immediately you can change the color right here to a darker red, something like this. Okay, great. And now what you want to do is audio layer and select your audio file. And right here we want to create digital and make the maximum height a lot larger, and just play around with all the examples here. So want to make it 0% softness. I hate softness. Make it a little bit thicker like this, and yeah, let's see what's right. It's getting maybe something like this. 500. And you can really do whatever you want, whatever you feel is right. It's all up to you. So maximum height here, random seed thickness. Let's see what it's giving. Okay, so this is pretty cool. It was a wobble. It's dubstep. So yeah, right here we have our audio file. So now what we can do is put it down like so, copy this information and paste it in here, and then it's also going down on the other side. And take the mask tool, rectangular, and around the middle, just cut this off, or just go to the top like so. Yeah, create a rectangle over the layer like this, so we only have the top part, and then the maximum height, make it even higher. Like this. And what you can do is duplicate this layer, change it to lines, and make it the maximum height even higher, make the thickness smaller. You can do whatever you want. Maybe let's take the dots and make them like this, and you can change all kinds of things. So it's totally up to you what you want. but we'll keep this for now. It's just a tutorial, so be creative, experiment with it. You have to do it yourself for this time. Okay, so go back to the main comp. We're ready to get started. Okay, we've been working a little. So we can see that our project is tracked. We can see all these dots, and if you don't see them, select your layer and click on 3D camera tracker. You should see everything. If you don't, you have done something wrong. Okay, so we can see all these cool dots. Take our selection tool and let's start selecting. So we have to find a base. Where is our base going to be? And I'm actually going to make it pretty center. So right here I see one dot. I'm going to right click it and press create a null and camera. Okay, so this is my base. Okay, and now we need 3 other locations where we want the well, yeah, let's go to the example. We want these stations or so. So we need to find a few more points so we can get started. First of all, the track null 1, we're going to rename it to base. Hit the return key on the keyboard, base, and hit enter. Okay, click back on this footage, 3D camera tracker. We'll create one here. Null. I'm getting disturbed. Okay, right here, one another, and right here. Okay, and then we need one on the mountain, but I can't see one dot on the mountain. So what you can do is create one here, and we'll keep it just there. But what you can do is also toggle up the advanced, change it to detailed analysis, or and then just retry it, and so reanalyze it. And let's see what that gives you. Try some different options to track if you don't see the points that you want. But yeah, I would definitely suggest doing this a few times if you don't find your track that you want. So, but for now, our tracks are pretty fine. So I'm going to rename everything. So this is going to be base southeast. Southeast. This is going to be southwest, and this is going to be northwest. Okay, so and this is going to be camp or so. We're just doing some random things just to determine which one is which. So now we can get started importing our little icons here. So let's take this one, drag it in here, and click on the pan behind tool and change this anchor point to the point right over here, and make it a 3D layer. Okay, so press P on the keyboard and go to base, press, southeast, press P on the keyboard again. And let's put that icon on here and select both of them, change it to purple so we can define them together. Click on this position, go to edit, copy, position here, edit, paste. Great, and now it's on that location. We just want to make it smaller, S on the keyboard, and scale it down like this, and now you can see it's tracked. Wow, also, pretty awesome. So now we want to do that for each for each point here. So just duplicate this, move it over here. Move it over here or down, and these are 2 together. So change them to sign. Reveal the position for both of them. Copy, paste. Duplicate, P on the keyboard, copy, paste, and well, actually that's it. Okay, so I'm going to delete them and select all of them and toggle them down just to get some overview. I'm also going to make it a little bit larger so we have more to play with, and change it to fit. Okay. Okay, so, well, I'm just going to leave it like this. We have our viewport here. And now what we want to do is scale everything until it's fine. So these seem fine to me. Yeah, it's okay. We'll leave it like this. So now we can see all the cool dots connecting. So pretty cool. Now also what we want to do is the audio form. So rename this to audio waveform and put it in here. Also make it purple. Deselect the audio here. Okay, so we have this. Let's offset it like this and take the pan behind tool, position it like this, and also make it a 3D layer. Reveal the position, copy, paste, and scale it down. And now what you can do is move it with these two. You have the X and Z. I would recommend using only these ones. Or yeah, I would suggest not touching the Z. Sorry. So only the Y and X. Okay, so right here, I guess I'm going to leave it, and then we're going to add a text. And let's type base southeast. I'm sorry. Southeast dot 702. Just making something up. Okay, so I'm going to use a font. Okay, great. So I'm going to make it thin, like just regular. And then I'm going to click on the selection tool, make it a 3D layer. Also make it that nice purple color right here, and make the same position. So copy, paste, and go back right here. So now we can see it's also on that same location. And all we want to do is just get it on a nice position, make it smaller, and yeah, it's all up to you. One thing we want to do for all these layers is toggle the motion blur for everything. We are going to use that later, so just make sure you have select everything here. And then we want to select all the 3 layers and the other icons. Press T on the keyboard, make it like 60% or so, and go to effects, blur, fast blur, and let's one pixel. Okay, so now we have everything with a fast blur. Okay, so toggle everything down, just to give it some realism right here. So well, maybe 1 is even too much, so I'm going to change it to, oh, it's still 2. Okay, 1. Okay, so you can change in okay, like so. Maybe the text to 0.5 or 0.2. Oh, I know what's wrong. It's in third resolution, so make sure you're working in full so you can see all the details. Okay, so now we can change it again to, let's say, 2 over here. 1. And just try to implement some depth of field effects. So also with the movement, if you are going to enable motion blur for the comp, it's going to change, but for now we're not going to enable it because it's going to slow down our working process. So now we have this here, and that's pretty cool. What we can do as well is select these 3 layers and parent them to the null. So if we ever change the null from position, they are going to follow along. So now we want to duplicate these, position them right over here. Well, actually not the icon, just these 2, and press the P from this comp and paste them on these 2. Select all of them and yeah, combine them with this one. Duplicate the text again and the waveform and just put them over. Yeah, like this. Oh no. Okay, just make sure every null object has one of the text and waveform. So I'm going to change the colors just to make some overview. So we only need, okay, so we have everything already done. So we have 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. Press the P on the keyboard for this icon and paste them on this. Okay, great. Well, actually, we should have nothing combined here at first, then paste, and then bind. I'm kind of messing up, but I hope you guys still following along. It's not that hard to follow, so we're going to deselect these, so select all of the 2 layers, deselect the parenting options, and then we want to copy the information of the sign color here. Copy and paste. Okay, great. And now all we have to do is to reposition it. So also on the waveform, this waveform, none, paste. Okay, and now select all of them and connect them with this null, all of these, and connect them with this null. Okay, so now we can see these are all positioned correctly, these aren't, so all is left to do is to reposition them. So zoom in with the spacebar, you can move around in your viewport here, and then move it to the right. Move it up, and then the base as well, and just try to get some composition in there. Okay, and do it for these as well. So move up. Oh, there we go. The waveform to the right, and up, and well, the text here. And then we also have to change the text right here. So base northwest dot 036 or 063. Doesn't really matter. Or 096. Okay. It's because the microphone is standing in front of my hands and I can't really see what I'm typing. So I should find a solution for that. Move back to the other one and also change this here. So south west 104, and now if we fit up to 100%, we can see we have our 3 locations which are binded to that location. So pretty cool. And as you remember, we have created a base. We're going to work with that now. So change it to yellow, go back to your projects, and we want to use this this one here. So go back to the main comp, import that icon, bring it up here, also make it yellow. And there we go. And also make it a 3D layer. Make sure that all the layers have motion blur for later in this tutorial. Press B on the keyboard for both of these. Copy, paste. There we go. Great. What you can do as well is duplicate it one more time, offset it, just like this. And this one, the first one, we're going to press R on the keyboard and the scale. So hold shift and add scale. So if you hold shift and you press S on the keyboard after you have enabled the rotations here, it's going to add it up there. And if you're not doing that, it's just going to switch between. So if you hold shift, it's going to add. So we create 2 stopwatches here, move them like 10 frames or so. And then we want to change it to 0 scale. Well, before we do scale, we'll do the rotation to see if I'm working on the correct one. So 180 and 0. So now we see these 2 keyframes, select all of them, right click, easy ease like we always do. And we can see the animation. So offset it just a little bit more and offset them like more to the center. So we have all these base and then the base, the main base is coming up. So what's, oh yeah, we're not going to do the scale and delete the scale and let it at 100. Okay, so now you're actually going to see it, hopefully. Not sure why we're not seeing anything. Okay, well, the rotation should start a little bit later, like here. Okay, so move these right here, and now it's going to work. Okay, great. So let's see what we have by pressing 0 on the keyboard, and then it's going to start doing a ramp preview. And we're just making things up, you know, just on the go. And that's what you should always do, is change your mind and do something different than you thought, and then you will have a better outcome. Sometimes you will have a worse outcome. I don't really like the extras here, so I'm going quickly to the waveform, going to this one here, to these solids, and click on the mask tool, select tool, and select these two dots, bring them in like here. And do that for this one as well. Well, press M on the keyboard, click on the path, and select these two dots and bring them in. Let's go back to the main comp and let's see what that gives us. Still too much, so go back. We actually made them too wide, you know, so well, you could also do it like this. Okay, double click here. Okay, well, let's see. Almost good, so just a little more. I think this is going to be all right. Great, so now we have the waveforms not exceeding the text we have. Okay, we can also change, well, yeah, it's all up to you to change these things. So now we have these two icons here in the center. We're going to make them to 60% as well, and also add a little bit of blur, 2%, and copy and paste it over here. So it's just going to add a little bit more realism. If you have a little bit less opacity, it's going to take the same colors of the environment, and the blur is also, and everything is very sharp. Nothing is sharp, so we have to trick it a little bit to the eye to make it a little bit more realistic. Nothing is perfect. Okay, so now we want to add this one here, this icon that's at the beginning, that is moving through the camera and giving that nice parallax feel. So we are going to add that one. Go back here and click through the icon. So right here, icon 3, or yeah, icon 3, add it to the camera. And we're actually going to start from a position that we already created, and then we're going to move it ourselves. So go right over here. We see this one here. So go at the beginning. We can see that we have this position. This is the closest to the camera. Press P on the keyboard, copy, and go back to this icon, enable motion blur and 3D, paste, and now it's on that location, but we want to move it right here, move it up, and move it closer to the camera, like this here. And let's do a ramp preview to see if that is the movement that we wanted to give. I think I want to make it a little bit closer to the camera, that it's moving away a lot quicker. So I'm going to move it even closer to the camera, move it over here, and scale it down. Just click and scale. There we go. Let's see if that is what we want. Okay, yeah, that's more like what I want, that nice parallax feel. It's moving past the camera, and then we see that the whole environment. So, and what we want to do now is also blur this out, because it's close to the camera, it's not in focus. So go to blur and sharpen, and I'm actually going to use the camera lens blur. It's a little bit more realistic to the camera blur, but it's also a little bit well, it's slower. So yeah, that's why I don't use it for everything, like right over here. And also change the opacity down like so, and change the toggle switches, and maybe try a blending mode from add or screen, well, or overlay maybe. Well, let's keep it just at normal. Yeah, I'll just keep it at normal. Well, here I did add, I think. Okay, well, maybe let's keep add and change the opacity a little bit lower. And I'm going to take a little drink. Okay, so now we have all our movements. We only need this base right over here, but it's just the same exact principle. But it's well, yeah, it's just the same kind of way of doing it. So go right over here. I actually forgot when we created, so double click here. Okay, so it's our second icon. Bring it in, make it toggle the switches, make it motion blur and 3D. P on the keyboard and P on the keyboard, copy, paste, bam, we have it. And then we want to change the opacity again and add some blur. This one can be 3. And yeah, you can add some text and blah blah blah. Okay, it's all the same thing. I'm not going to waste our time on this. We're going to continue to the lines immediately, but first I'm going to show you a little bit more about VideoBlocks, because it's actually pretty nice. VideoBlocks is an affordable and subscription-based stock footage website where you can download stock footage, project files for After Effects and motion backgrounds, and especially for the After Effects project files, they're pretty nice. You can download them and see how they have made it to learn After Effects yourself. Also, the stock footage, it gives your project a lot more production value, so sometimes I even use stock footage in my own projects when I can't film it myself, or when my quality is not going to be the same. So especially aerial shots are very nice on this website, and also the time lapses and cool things. If you're talking about something, you can show them an image of what you're talking about and you don't have to film it yourself. For a monthly fee, you can do this with VideoBlocks, and right now they're giving away a 7-day free trial, so I would definitely go up and sign up, and you can download up to 140 clips. So yeah, I would definitely do that, experiment with it, and it's surely it's worth it. Trust me. Also, AudioBlocks is for the audio and sound effects, so if you need those, you can go head up to audioblocks.com, and yeah, it's kind of the same principle like here. So yeah, back to After Effects. Okay, so now we are in After Effects, and we want to create the lines from this one to the base, so we can see, we can see the base popping up, but before we do that, we're just going to offset our clips just a little, so it's coming up on the in the camera. So now they're all in there immediately, so that's not something that we want. Well, maybe it is, but not for me this time. So we're just going to offset them just a little, like here, and this one here, and this one here. Okay, maybe this one a little bit closer to the camera. To the start, I am sorry. Okay, like this will be fine. You can see it pops up, and the audio is already there. So we're going to Command Shift D, and it's going to split these layers, and then move it right here. Also do this for this. Command Shift D, click this, delete it, and move this one here. Command Shift D, same things. Great. Okay, so now it's popping up right here, but everything is popping at the same time, so we're going to offset these as well, and now we can see pop, and it's there, and we're going to do that for all of these. It's a little bit cooler, a little bit more dynamic, and gives it a nice feeling. What you also can do is change the opacity from the text from 100% to 0 to 100 to 0 to 100, and it's going to add that nice flickering digital feeling to it. So that's also an option that you could do. You can also make the other crosses fly in the air, just like we did with this one, and just add a little bit more to give it a little bit more detail, and yeah, that's it. So now for the lines, let's go to Layer, New, Solid, and click OK. Go to Effects, well, here, Effects and Presets. I'm going to search for it because I'm not sure where it is, Beam Effect, and we're going to import that, well, drag it onto the composition that we just created. That's the white solid here. We're going to rename it to Lines. Okay, and immediately you can see this is an ugly effect. We want to change it to white, so white and white. And now the tricky part, well, the length to 100%. It's not really tricky. I have it right here for you guys, but we're going to use a little bit of expressions. So we're going to drag this right over here, and we're going to make it purple. So this one is for the purple ones, and we're going to reveal the position of this one here. Well, actually, no, we're not. We're going to click on the lines, click Alt on the start point, and now we're going to add a little expression. So I have it written down right here. I'm not an expression guru, so yeah. Okay, so X equals this comp dot layer, open parentheses, and then you just enter the name of the layer base. So base, close it down, semicolon, and well, it's going to be mad. Okay, so click OK, hit enter on the keyboard, x dot to comp, x dot anchor point. Close it down. And we made a little mistake. We didn't add a point here, so now it should be fine. Okay, great. So what it's going to do is going to take the layer base, and it's going to point this to the point of the base, the anchor point. Because it's a 3D value, it's not going to the position of the 2D, because if it's only going to the 2D value of that position, it's not going to be correct. And Beam doesn't support 3D values, so we have to trick it into thinking it's 3D, and that's where the anchor point comes in. So that's why we're going to use this. So now we're going to copy this little piece of text, and also alt click on the ending point, paste it again, and just change the base to SE. Right here, SE, okay. And now you can see it's connected from this point to that point. And the last thing for us to do is, well, disable the softness, that's 1. And the ending point should be, well, should be 8, okay. And this one should be like 2 or so. And now you get this 3D vibe to it. So it's going from thick to thin because it's going in the distance. And we also are going to press T on the keyboard to make it a little bit more transparent, like this, and duplicate it, move it right here, and change it to cyan color. And now what we want to do is also press U on the keyboard, well, let's delete it first, and right here we want to animate it. So once the animation is done, we can duplicate it. Okay, so right here we have the time. If it's at 0, it's going to be in the base. So click on the stopwatch for time, move 10 frames by holding shift and down page down key, and make it 100. Well, 50, I'm sorry. And then it's going to move from the base to that point. You can see it like this. Press U on the keyboard and make these easy E's. Okay. And then duplicate this one, move it to the cyan ones, make it cyan color. Press U on the keyboard, well, make sure you see these options here, and the only thing you have to change is this one from SE to SW, and then duplicate it again and move it right here. If you double tap U, you'll immediately see these options, so NW, and now you can see that all of the 3 dots are connected, and you can offset this one. And you can offset this one, well, this one. And now you can see the lines connecting to the dot and the base forming. And now if we are going to play this back, we're going to get our awesome animation. So this is basically how to do this. I would suggest you do it a little bit more, well, a little bit more fancy than I did. Just try to add a few more here and here so it's not empty, and try to work on your composition skills. And yeah, okay, so now we have this, and you can see it's jumping away right here, and that's just because it doesn't find the tracking key. So what I did to trick that is I just deleted the line like it's disappearing. It lost its connection, and we need to find another collection. So like so, and then you won't get the the glitchy effect. So this is actually how to do that. Now we can add a quick color correction to it. So go to adjustment layer, go to and create a new solid layer as well to add some vignette. We'll create this black, hit enter, enter. Choose our path here, ellipse tool here, and drag over our solid here. Press F on the keyboard, click here to subtract, feather it out like so, toggle the switches, make it overlay, and bring down the opacity a little. Go back to adjustments, And here we are going to do a simple color correction of a tint, 25%, scale and sharp mask, 75, color correction curves. We're going to add some contrast here and take away the reds and the highlights. Well, no, and in these shadows for sure, like so, and add some blues in the shadows. Take them away in the highlights. And yeah, it's completely up to you to do your color correction yourself. So green. And yeah, experiment around and then just do a ramp preview and you'll see it's looking pretty nice. And yeah, change the opacities, change some blurs, and just try to give it a little bit more realism. And this is actually, well, this is basically how to do this. So hopefully you have learned a few things in this tutorial. If you didn't, then why did you watch the tutorial? And if you didn't because you couldn't follow, then you should definitely check some more Adobe After Effects tutorials to get started. And once you understand it a little bit more, jump back to this tutorial and follow along. So hopefully you enjoy it, and thank you for watching. Subscribe for more. I will definitely be making more After Effects tutorials. And yeah, goodbye.